Hi everyone, Felix here, Advanced Clinical Practitioner with the Eden Clinic. Today we're going to be talking a bit more about testosterone. Now this is hopefully going to be an interesting one as we're going to be looking at things in a bit more detail, and we'll be looking at this incredibly complex topic that our amazing bodies make so simple, and that is steroidogenesis, or put simply, how our steroid hormones are made. Now if you haven't already, I'd recommend watching this video just up here for a brief and more simple rundown of the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, or HPG axis, because it will really help you understand what we're going to cover here today. Now, as I mentioned, this is an exceptionally complicated process which we refer to sometimes as the hormone cascade, or steroidogenesis. Now, there are multiple steps to this process, so I think we're going to need a diagram to make things a bit more easy to understand. So as we can see now on the screen, this mechanism of hormone production is a very busy one. There's an awful lot going on. Now, all of our hormone production begins with cholesterol. This is really important. We need a certain level of cholesterol to have any level of steroid hormone production. Now, don't get me wrong, more cholesterol doesn't equate to more testosterone. However, there is a threshold when it comes to the extreme ends of the scale. So we start with cholesterol, then it's converted to pregnenolone by cholesterol side chain cleavage enzyme. Then two arms of conversion occur, and that's the prostogens and the androgens, 21 and 19 carbons respectively, as you'll see on the screen there. Now, it's important to note that there is downstream and cross-stream conversion occurring simultaneously. So pregnenolone is converted to 17-alpha hydroxypregnenolone by 17-alpha hydroxylase in the downstream arm. It's also cross-converted to progesterone and 17-alpha hydroxyprogesterone by 17-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, or we'll just call that 17-BHSD from now on. This is then further converted by 21-hydroxylase to mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids. Now this essentially helps us deal with intravascular and extracellular fluid management, which we won't get into right now as that's a whole other video all in its own category, I think. Comment below if you'd like to know more about those arms of the steroidogenesis cascade. So getting back to our steroidogenesis, so simultaneous to this on the downstream androgen arm, further conversion to dehydroepiandrosterone, or more commonly known as DHEA, and androstenediol occurs. This is then cross-converted by 17-beta HSD to testosterone, which in turn is converted by 5-alpha reductase to dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. This then subsequently is converted by the aromatase enzyme to estradiol, estrone, and estriol. We refer to that specific conversion process as aromatization because the enzyme is called aromatase. Well, that was an awful lot of information, wasn't it, in a very short space of time. That, believe it or not, was quite a simplified version of this incredible process our body does to keep us functioning normally. This brings us a question. So what do we do when our body is not functioning normally? Well, that's easy, isn't it? We just commence TRT. Well, yes and no, but first you need a formal diagnosis. That process takes time. For more information about that, be sure to check out my other video on testosterone deficiency and blood test requirements just here. Now, let's assume that you have your formal diagnosis of testosterone deficiency, or hypogonadism. You commence TRT, problem solved, right? Well, essentially yes, maybe. However, we need to be mindful that introducing exogenous testosterone is not a simple therapy. Testosterone is what is known as a pleiotropic hormone. That is, it has multiple actions in the body. When done without the supervision of a trained clinician who has an in-depth understanding of the physiology, biochemistry, and pharmacology, through formal training and clinical experience, things can go quite wrong. It's just not as simple as some people might have you believe out there on the internet. For example, utilizing incorrect dosing or administration frequency has ramifications on multiple levels of the cascade that we've discussed previously, which can cause an imbalance in not just your primary sex hormones, i.e. testosterone and estradiol, but also your neurosteroids such as pregnenolone and DHEA, which can have a profound effect on some people's sense of psychological well-being. Now, exogenous testosterone is on a molecular level bioidentical. However, the difference between endogenous and exogenous testosterone is that exogenous testosterone is bound to what is known as an ester. Now, without going too geeky and into the realms of carbon groups and molecular bonding, esters are important as they are compounds derived from acids that, in simplified terms, are chemically bonded to the testosterone molecule in order to allow it to be usable on a practical level. The reason we need to utilize esters is because of testosterone's short elimination half-life of 2 to 4 hours. The addition of an ester, which needs to be cleaved by the liver, allows for an extension of the hormone's half-life to allow us to be able to either administer less frequently in certain circumstances, or more commonly, allow us to be able to adjust our dosing with a more predictable and therefore incrementally manageable outcome in terms of stable serum concentration levels. Please check out our 3-part video series on the different esters that are commonly used in TRT just here. So, to summarise, this has been a bit of a look at the more complex side of steroid hormone synthesis and the difference between endogenous versus exogenous testosterone and its impact on testosterone replacement therapy. Be sure to check out our other videos on the channel, hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss any of our future uploads. I'll see you in the next one.